Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I wanted to ask you, I come from the proud state of New Hampshire, the live free or die state, and one of the things that we, I think, put a premium on in our state is, privacy and issues of personal protection. And we are in a situation where on the 2005 Real ID Act, there are some provisions of it we've complied with, 32 of those. But our legislature, on a bipartisan basis, has really spoken for the people of New Hampshire and their reflection on prohibiting compliance with certain parts of the Real ID Act. So I guess I have a question for you. In 2000, as you know, we also wrote you recently. I don't know if you've seen it, myself and the entire delegation, because we have not been granted an additional extension where some other states have been in terms of the compliance with the Real ID Act. But I just need to understand for the people of New Hampshire, and I support their concerns, by the way. I think that this is legitimate, and I think that people in New Hampshire, we're a state that certainly values protecting our national security and the public, but we're also a state that has a long, proud tradition on a bipartisan basis of protecting privacy and people's concerns. And I just want to understand, starting in 2016, since we have not yet been granted this extension, will this administration essentially prohibit Granite State families from getting on a commercial airline with a valid New Hampshire license? Because that seems to me the implication that, we've got 1.3 million people in our state and want to understand what happens if you haven't granted us an extension like you have other states. And we have valid concerns with this law that I think that many other people share. And you know what? I support my constituents on this.
Senator, the Real ID Act was passed by Congress in 2005 or 2006, and my department is charged with implementing it. We've done so on a very deliberate timeline. I did receive your letter, and our assessment is that it would not be very difficult for the state of New Hampshire to put itself in a position where we can give you an extension. There are the overwhelming majority of states out there that either have complied or have been granted extensions. And I recall from the discussion with my staff that it would not be that difficult for the state to put itself on the path to an extension, and I would certainly encourage you to encourage state officials to do that. It's a law that I'm charged with implementing.
Well, Mr. Secretary, I think the issue is it wouldn't be that difficult if we do what the federal government wants us to do. And I think that happens a lot in terms of basically states being told what to do. And this is one where my state feels really strongly about it. I hope that you'll look at our letter seriously again. And I think that this has been an issue that New Hampshire's spoken loudly and clearly on, and I hope that you'll look again at the letter. But when you say it's easy for us to comply, I think that translates to, yes, if we do what the federal government asks us to do. And so, again, I hope you'll go back, look at the letter, because this is a real issue for people in New Hampshire, and it's a important issue for them.
I certainly don't want to see 1.3 million people in your state have an issue at airports, and so our folks want to work with state officials to avoid that.
Good. I don't either, and I also respect their rights to exercise their viewpoints and the importance that they place on issues like privacy as well.